All right, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Cleveland Browns Talk, Browns Cowboys edition. Somber vibes in the atmosphere today. We start the season 0-1. Embarrassing 0-1 at that.
Not good.
Derrick, give me your... What's your one key takeaway from yesterday's loss?
One key takeaway?
Yeah, just one. Doesn't have to be the main one. Just give me one.
I'll start with one. Offensive line didn't look very good.
The offensive line didn't do us any favors.
No.
We couldn't get the running game going at all.
Didn't have a lot of time for the quarterback.
Jerome Ford was obsolete. I was a little upset we didn't see Dontea Foreman.
Yeah, you saw Pierre Strong. You saw... Yeah.
Just Jerome Ford and
those two.
Yeah.
But granted, with the offensive line, you had Conklin out.
Yep.
Jed Wills out. And then James Hudson got hurt.
Anytime I see James Hudson on the line at the beginning of the game, I don't even know. I understand you need depth. When I still see his name on the roster,
he's got experience now.
Yeah, but he's still getting beat like a drum out there, bro.
He is going against TJ for the most part.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've seen years of him going against, all of these dudes, and my dude's getting beat like he stole something every time. It's embarrassing.
Was it, now I already drew a blank, was it Hudson that got hurt or DeJuan Jones that got hurt?
I think it was Hudson. Unfortunately.
Either way, the next tackle that came in was the old Bengals tackle.
Yes.
When they went to the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And we know how rough that was for Joe Burrow, not having a lot of time. So
yeah. First off, like you said, offensive line did us no favors. But the biggest takeaway for me is Deshaun Watson's ability to quarterback. Now, we don't have to talk accuracy. We don't have to talk confidence. It's his unwillingness to get rid of the ball.
Wants to hold on to it.
I despise a quarterback who refuses to get rid of the ball and thinks they can extend every single play.
He did it in Houston, and I think he still thinks he can do that still.
And it's like, I respect it, but there are some times where you gotta just throw the ball in the dirt and get it and just live for another down. Because when you're staring at, our average third down yesterday was 3rd and 8.
That was another takeaway. We didn't do anything on our first and second down to give us an opportunity to even get a first down.
And when it's 3rd and 8 without a Nick Chubb in the backfield, that's an obvious passing situation. Most coaches are not going to call, unless you're the Steelers, no shade. They used to love to run draw plays on 3rd down.
Yeah.
And that's not shade.
No.
But without Nick Chubb, there is no shot we are running the ball on 3rd down.
We got our second first down in our 9th drive, and that was after halftime in the 3rd quarter.
Yep.
Our second first down in our 9th drive.
At one point, Deshaun had 9 completions.
And then
for 36 yards.
Yeah, you look at if you just looked at the box score and you looked at the total yards, everything's pretty similar against the Cowboys.
Yeah,
that's very empty stats. Just looking at it right there, you're like, oh, it must have been a close game. They're at least moving the ball. We were not. Moving the ball.
Well, and can you read Dak's? Do you have Dak's stat line there? He didn't have a great game.
He had an average game manager game, 19 for 32, 179 yards, and a touchdown.
So
he had a lot of time.
You limit Dak Prescott.
Compared to Deshaun.
No matter what people think about Dak. I like Dak sometimes. Dak went 19 for 32 for only 180 yards. And we lost.
His under hit.
Yeah, of course, by a mile. His under was probably 250.
It was it was a little under 250, but it was in above 225 at least.
So it's when you look at that, obviously you have to use the eye test and watch the game. The defense did do somewhat of their job.
Deshaun threw for 10 less yards. And you watch those two play, it's like they looked completely different.
But Deshaun had 45 pass attempts. I don't ever want to see Deshaun throwing the ball 45 times.
He's going to have shoulder problem this week, I think.
Okay, so my number one thing I wanted to do when we came in here, or not do, I should say, is not overreact.
It's Overreaction Monday.
Give me your biggest overreaction to the game.
my biggest overreaction is we don't know what Deshaun's going to look like yet. Still, we don't know. And this is the same thing I said last year when he got hurt. We're going to rinse and repeat. The same thing we did before is, he's not back to his form yet.
Yeah, we're in year one.
Let the rust off to get off again.
Yeah.
And we're just stuck with this Deshaun Watson. And I've seen a lot of people saying, hey, if he stinks it up week 2, look at Jameis. And I'm like, I don't see a lot of upside with Jameis.
So that is the biggest overreaction is putting Jameis Winston in right now.
With the future.
It is a 17 game season, not 16, sorry. It's week 1. Okay? You could be 0-3 and still not need to push the panic button.
No, not exactly.
You know, and you don't want to start 0-3, but if you look at our next 4 games, not trying to get too ahead of ourselves, but we have Commanders in there, Raiders in there, Jacksonville in there, the Giants in there. Okay? Even through Deshaun Watson's poor play, defensively, we should still have a little help, and he should hopefully be able to manage the game, but without being able to run the ball a little bit to open up those bootlegs and play action, this team has no offensive ability.
Yeah. And,
none.
And I mean, even the bootlegs didn't work because Micah and everyone were staying and holding the edge.
I mean, Micah Parsons is a top 5 edge rusher. Yeah. Top 3 to 4, you know, and the offensive line didn't do what they normally do. No. He didn't get chipped a lot.
Granted, they were hurt.
And he was living in the backfield. And Deshaun, I think I seen a stat where under pressure, he was
under pressure all game.
He was 1 for 11 under pressure. He completed 1 pass under pressure.
I mean,
and that was a Jordan Akins for like a 4-yard gain.
There was a couple of times to where the receivers let him down.
Yeah,
where it was
David Njoku,
Elijah Moore, that tip pass that turned into a pick for Trayvon Diggs. That's a catchable ball.
Yeah,
Elijah Moore didn't jump. He tried to catch it while still running.
Yep. David Njoku dropped a wide open pass going across the middle.
That doesn't surprise me. No offense to David. I love David. Doesn't surprise me.
He does drop wide open passes a lot.
But here's a key takeaway for us down the road.
Okay, hit me.
So now here's a couple of teams that made it to the Super Bowl that you would say got blown out week 1. First, we'll go with the 2020 Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Okay.
They lost to the New Orleans Saints 34-23. So
11-point loss.
11 point. It's not a total disaster, but they had one, of course, Tom Brady.
Yep.
It's a little different team. Next would be the 2017 New England Patriots. Lost week 1. They lost against the Chiefs 42-27. Again, that's Tom Brady.
Yep.
And then we go back. This is the last decade, so only 3 teams that lost a decent amount. There's definitely teams that lost, but in a close one. But teams that lost a decent amount that made it to the Super Bowl was the 2014 New England Patriots, to where they lost against the Dolphins 33-20.
So 2 New England Patriots.
So 2 Patriots and 1 Tampa. And I mean, the common denominator between all of them is Tom Brady was the quarterback. So.
And Deshaun Watson is not Tom Brady.
No, Deshaun isn't Tom Brady, but at the same time, those were teams that got blown out week 1 that probably got overhyped in the preseason per se, and then they're like, oh my God, they lost week 1. They're terrible, blah, 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 and they went on to make it to the Super Bowl. Yeah. So there's a chance.
I mean, listen, it's a long season. There's a lot of adjustments to be made. There's a lot of decisions to be made. The only thing that sucks is Deshaun actually looked great last year's week 1.
He did.
He played a really good game. Now, granted, the
defense. Did he play in preseason? I think he played a little bit in the preseason, didn't he?
We would have to look at that. But the defense did him a lot of favors. Remember, Myles Garrett had his hands all over that game.
What did we do the first drive?
Exactly. Great defensive stop. Set the tone.
The punt wasn't good.
Yep.
And then that led us with 3 points right off the bat. Yep. First drive.
The good thing is, a lot of people underestimate special teams. Darden is a good punt return man.
Yep.
So finally we have a guy who can get us 20 yards off a punt. I mean, he returned 1 to midfield.
Yep.
When you start a drive at the 50-yard line, you should end with a field goal.
You should get one. Yes.
Jerry Jeudy looked good yesterday.
Hey, I think Jerry Jeudy's going to be the X factor.
Jerry Jeudy looked good yesterday.
As long as Deshaun has time, everyone's going to be focused on Amari. He did drop that 1 pass.
He did.
But everyone's going to be focused on Amari, to where Jeudy, I think, is a good receiver. He just needs. I mean, now he's not the number 1.
Right.
he's going to have a lot of space. He's going to have that number 2 or the nickel sometimes on him to where he's going to be able to create space.
Mm-hmm. And Jerry Jeudy's a good route runner. He's like, I don't want to say a mini Amari Cooper because Amari Cooper has showed great consistency his whole career. But he is an elite route runner just like Amari Cooper. He's quick, but not fast. And he has good hands. That's Amari Cooper.
I mean, I said in the last episode, 3 of our receivers are top 9 or top 6 in man-to-man coverage.
Mm-hmm.
3 of them.
So let me ask you
At least last season.
Are you ready to push the panic button yet?
No, I'm not. Listen, if we lay an egg against the Jaguars to where the Jaguars, they
played good versus Miami.
They did play good against Miami. But if we show no hope against the Jaguars, I push the panic button on it a little bit.
So I would like to see how we look. I'm not ready to push the panic button this early in the season. Hi, my name is Dontea from Barbershop Break Room. I am one of those Browns fans that I am what my friends like to call wishy-washy.
Go back and forth?
I love them, then I hate them, then I love them again. All right? I've thrown jerseys out the window. I've taken jerseys off. I refuse to wear something Browns this morning.
You did. I try to represent it a little bit.
Nope. After yesterday, they don't even deserve to be on my back. My Jim Brown jersey was off at halftime.
No.
So I am wishy-washy, but when you have a roster like this, I have no choice but to hold this team to a higher standard. When I saw what we could do with 5 quarterbacks, and we have a 2-time Coach of the Year, a reigning Defensive Player of the Year, and all pro guys on this roster, excuse me for wanting a little more from this team.
And I mean, you saw it when Joe Flacco came in, pushing the pace down the field, taking some shots. Deshaun wasn't doing that in the beginning, and then once you start to see him do it a little bit, I mean, he overthrew 2 people in the end zone, Jeudy and Cooper, and then again he overthrew 2 people. I think Cooper and Jeudy again. Midfield.
Yeah, and he couldn't even keep the ball in bounds on somebody. You know who he's looking like right now? He looks like Blake Bortles right now.
But I hope that's the reason of he didn't get game reps in preseason. So this is like a little shaky for him. Hopefully that's what it is.
I just don't want this to fall on Kevin Stefanski because I do think Kevin Stefanski is a very good coach.
Brought Ken Dorsey in to revamp and make that offense even greater, he said.
Yeah, and listen, Ken Dorsey is a good offensive coordinator. I think Kevin Stefanski is still calling the plays. I think
he is. He said he's still calling the plays, but he brought in Ken Dorsey to to make it a better offense too. Yeah,
but you can only be as good as your quarterback. And in a game in a game where your offensive line is doing you no favors, your quarterback needs to have some time to be able to at least go through his progressions.
And he didn't have a lot of time. When he had time to go through progressions is when he had to break out of a sack.
Yeah.
Or just escape the pocket to even give him some extra time.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were covered too. So I give Dallas's defense credit. Dallas's defense they're solid. They're a good defense.
It's not a bad defense.
They're a top 10 defense.
They were a top 10 defense last season.
And they're still going to be a top 10 defense. Without DeRon Bland too.
My biggest takeaway, and I don't want to overreact once again, Overreaction Monday.
Do it.
I am ready to say again and again and again, because I've said it numerous times, that I don't think Deshaun will ever revert back to the player he was for the simple fact of the team is too good and there's too much pressure to perform due to the contract. When he was in Houston, yes, he was the 10th pick in the draft, 11th pick, whatever one he was, but the team was bad. The expectations were low. So anything you do good is overachieving. With this Cleveland Browns team, we have a history of terrible quarterbacks.
Yep.
So when we get a good one, they love you when you're good, and they boo the shit out of you when you're bad.
Baker saw it firsthand.
Exactly.
He's the first one that experienced that one.
If Deshaun doesn't have time to put together a 4-game stretch, 3-game stretch even, of solid quarterback play to build his confidence, because they're not going to let him have 2 consecutive bad games. The boos are so loud in that stadium.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
We've been to games. Yeah. I have been to games where dudes
heard it on the TV.
Yes, like the boos are loud.
Yeah.
And a dude that's been in his head for the last 3 seasons, been under scrutiny, constant pressure. I just don't know if he's mentally strong enough to overcome any of that.
To add on top of that, shout out to Myles Garrett in the press conference.
Reporter
asked him about the booing. He said, "Well, they come, they pay their money. They have every right to boo if we're not playing good." and then they have every right to cheer.
Yep, absolutely.
They do whatever they want to do. So shout out to Miles for that. And I know the Deshaun Watson thing. His first 4 years, 19 touchdowns, 8 interceptions his rookie year, 26 tuds, 9 interceptions sophomore year. I don't know, I'm saying it like he's in college. Third year, 26 touchdowns, 12 picks. And then the last year in Houston, 33 touchdowns and 7 interceptions with 4,800 yards.
That's the season we're holding on to, though.
If he's 70% of that to where he's 3,500 yards, 20 touchdowns, and 10 picks.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
He's a game manager, and that defense should help us like win games. So that's all we needed.
So what do you want to see going into next week versus Jacksonville?
Next week.
Last week is behind us.
The biggest thing, you need Wills and you need Conklin healthy.
Yes.
You need that starting offensive line out there to where that's going to give us a true look at Deshaun. You give him time, then you can actually see how Deshaun goes through his reads, goes through his progressions, if he's able to hit those wide open receivers, and he's not getting killed. Mm-hmm. In the back of his mind, he's not thinking, "Oh, I'm going to have to run. I'm going to have to get out. I'm going to have to do this."
I would love to see on first down. This is Kevin Stefanski's identity and his favorite play. He did it with Flacco. He did it with Baker. He doesn't do it with Deshaun as much. I don't know why. I would love to see him immediately play action bootleg.
You don't have Nick
pull
Chubb.
the guard. But listen, you don't got Nick Chubb, but you get Jerome Ford out there. But you pull the guard over, you get him out in front, you get Deshaun rolling right to a strong side, and now you have the tight end option, you have the deep receiver option, or he has the running option.
So we did
get him easy completions because he made easy completions at the beginning of that Dallas game. I had texted my buddy Alex and said, Deshaun actually doesn't look bad. He's dinking and dunking, but the biggest thing that I like to see was he was hitting guys in the stomach where they needed to be hit with the ball. I remember when he first came to Cleveland, everything was in the dirt. He couldn't get anything off the ground.
Yeah.
And he even went back to that a little bit. A lot of passes where dudes were diving on the ground trying to get underneath it.
But that's also him when he was trying to break out of it. Yeah. Another sack.
Well, I'd rather see it low where only his receiver can get it rather than high and it's over his head.
Especially when he's getting hit.
Yeah.
And I know we did try that bootleg once on first down. And as soon as we did it, Micah was there waiting.
Yep, he was.
We didn't run it all game. And I think it was the second half we decided to do it.
Yeah, Kevin went back to his old ways.
Or maybe late in the second. And Micah was there. Mm-hmm. Like we tried, basically, that's one of those plays to where you're like, oh, we're not going to run it until we need it.
Yep.
And we did it, finally, bootleg right to the right. Mike is there waiting. It's like, damn.
I would just like to see the Flacco-style offense with Deshaun again.
That's why Jameis would be good for a lot of people's eyes, because Jameis is what the fucking Joe Flacco experience was.
So
he's going to throw it deep, and he's going to throw picks.
The thing about Jameis is it is going to be similar to Joe Flacco. I don't know if he's going to be as surgical as Joe Flacco was, because Joe Flacco made some throws where you looked at him and you were like, damn, are you like that?
Yeah.
Fitting in the tight windows. But he was 1-2 in touchdown interception ratio. For every one touchdown, he threw about 2 picks.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 to 1.5.
Yeah.
But he wasn't scared to throw the ball and he gave his receivers a chance.
And I mean, that changes the defense up a little bit.
Yeah.
To where you're not taking shots down the field, your safeties are going to slowly creep up a little bit more. But your corners aren't going to give you that much slack.
But I will say this. Let me look it up real quick.
And as you're going, do you want, I can go down. I did every drive and I gave my the Browns drive, the first drive. We had the no call on Amari Cooper slant route, which it was fine, whatever, and ended with 3 points. We'll take it. Our second drive, we already had 5 penalties to start our second drive. Mm-hmm. We go nowhere, 3 and out. Third drive, Deshaun Watson almost gets picked off of a bootleg. Njoku was wide open. Wide open and dropped it while Watson was being hit, and then he got sacked. Another 3 and out. Fourth drive, 3 and out. Offense looks stale. That's what I put. Our fifth drive, first down so far. Yeah, only 1 first down so far this game. That was 5:15 in the second quarter. DeJuan Jones gets hurt. That's who it is. And Jermaine Ofetti from Cincinnati comes in. Another 3 and out. Sixth drive, 41 total yards from Deshaun Watson. Picked off and tipped at the line of scrimmage. So 2 of his picks were tipped off.
If it's tipped at the line, I don't really consider that on a quarterback.
Seventh drive, this is one with 51 seconds left before halftime. 3 and out with 17 seconds left.
Yeah, and then Dallas was about to attempt the 71-yard field goal and make it. I was going to tweet that if they make the 71-yard route, eat my Jim Brown jersey on live. And
he might have hit it.
I was sweating.
I mean,
I was like, that's an XL, and it's a hardwood classic. It's a big jersey.
We shouldn't give him a lot of time to get it off, but he shouldn't have hit it. Now, after halftime, I'm going to quick because there's not that many after this. 8th drive, missed Amari Cooper wide open on a slant route, sacked again, another 3 and out. 9th drive, first down. That was our second first down of the game. To Judy, finally moved down the field, and then we had the 2 overthrows towards the end zone. One to the Cooper, one to Jerry Judy. They weren't open, but still not catchable. And then we finally threw that touchdown to Jerry Judy to make it 27-10. The next couple drives, I put Deshaun so many deep balls off.
Yep.
Back to back to Coop to Judy, and then he got sacked again.
Yep.
11th drive, 4 and out, or turnover on downs. 12th drive, another 4 and out. 13th drive.
You're depressing me, bro. Stop. You're depressing me. You're giving me PTSD. My Lord. I'm like reliving the game again.
This is the pass tipped by Moore, and that was picked off by Diggs. I put KMS. You can figure out what that means.
Yep.
And then the 14th drive, that's our last drive of basically the game, to where we put finally together a drive to where we had a deep ball to Cooper. He dropped it, but that ended with that Ford touchdown.
Yep.
So that's how the game went for us on our offensive side.
So to put the button on this week's Browns talk,
it was rough.
I'm going to ask you one question.
Hit me.
Do we get out of Jacksonville with a win? You got to give me simple yes or no. Don't even break it down. Yes or no.
We come out with Jacksonville with a win. The only thing that does scare me, hopefully Njoku gets healthy. He suffered high ankle sprain.
High ankle sprain. Yeah, that could be
soon
up to 4
to be
weeks.
out 3 to 6. That's the range. But I think other than that, I think DeJuan Jones is okay.
Good.
I didn't check, but that's our key injury heading into there, and we only have Jordan Akins as a tight end. But back to what you said, we beat the Jags because of our defense.
I like it.
Because of our defense.
I'm going to end with this, and I want our Browns family to take this information however you would like.
One more thing after
I was scrolling for Twitter. Hurry up, because I got to go. I'm supposed to be meeting.
Is it the Joe Bitonio thing?
That and
okay, go.
I'm gonna listen to Joe Thomas when he said, "Don't put any stock in that." He said, "We're fat. We got to roll over. We're like turtles." He was like, "Don't put any stock in that. We have to get up ourselves a lot of times."
That's what I was gonna say too.
Don't put any stock.
I'm not
into
expecting
that.
the quarterback to pick me up when I weighed 275.
Especially when he has a shoulder injury and he's pushing. He's trying to help you with his right arm. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Don't put any stock into that, Cleveland fans. The last thing I want to leave you with is a lot of people are calling for Jameis Winston. I get it. I understand it. You're tired of Watson. We've seen the experiment. It doesn't look like it's going to work. Looks like we're going to lose a lot of money and waste a generational team for Cleveland. But I just want to let you guys know the last time we seen Jameis Winston play more than 7 games was in the year 2019. Okay. Since 2019, he has played 4 games, 7 games, 3 games, and 7 games. Okay. He has barely played more than Deshaun Watson. And in that time period, okay, Jameis Winston has thrown 3 interceptions, 5 interceptions, 3 interceptions. So and 4 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns in that time period. And he threw 14 though with the 5. All I'm saying is we don't know what the Jameis Winston experiment is going to look like. I don't know if it's going to look too much better than Deshaun. And I think benching Deshaun too early when you owe him $100 million and it would be dead money.
Yeah.
I just don't know if that's the right decision, Cleveland.
I will say Cleveland also think Sam Darnold went and balled out.
He did.
Sam Darnold, kind of a similar situation as Jameis, to where he didn't start the last couple of years.
Yep.
Carolina was his true last place to where he started.
Yep.
And now he balled out.
Yep.
Granted, that's one game.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. I know this will be a weekly talk. I know whenever we do our pick'ems, it'll come out Thursday this week. We'll talk a little bit more in depth when we get some injury reports back. And, go in depth of the games and everything like that. So episode 2 is pretty cool.
Yep.
Enjoyed it. Hopefully, I didn't enjoy it.
No, it's somber vibes.
But it was good to get out. It was like this is a therapy session.
Yep.
But hey.
Thank you guys.
I pieced us out last time. You can piece us out this time.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, Dog Pound family. We'll see you guys next week with a win.
Peace out.
Peace.